Welcome to episode 1 of the Bev Lab podcast. I'm Cody, here with my co-host Ben and Dan from Ghost.
What's up?
How's it
It's
going?
nice to have you back.
Like we never left.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Dan, it's been a year since the big sale, $1.6 billion to Keurig Dr. Pepper. What's life looking like right now?
Man, the biggest life lesson I learned, I think I lied to myself and lied to everyone for the longest time saying it's going to slow down. It doesn't slow down, it just gets faster, right? And the fact that it's already been 10, 11, 12 months is insane. It's a little bit freaky. So you really got to maximize each day, got to enjoy each day because, dude, it goes by quick. And maybe that's me speaking 9, 10 years into Ghost now and getting old, right? Like, holy crap, it goes by quick. So that's number one. But I think the other side of it is like, look, like the more things change, the more they stay the same. KDP, Dr. Pepper, made a big bet on us. They bought a majority stake of the company. They now distribute our products, all over the U.S. And it's been great. I think right away you're seeing Ghost available in more places. You're seeing us cold in more places. We were never going to be able to get in like the refrigerators at the front of grocery stores with our prior distributor. We needed a major non-alc distributor like those guys to help us do that. So that's been immediate and really exciting to see. It's going to get even better next year after like kind of the sales season kind of happens and all that. But that's been great. On the other side of it, they bought into a brand, they bought into a family, they bought into a culture, and they know better and don't want to screw any of that up. I think that there's been enough case studies throughout modern CPG of kind of, big guy comes in and changes a lot of things or whatever. And I think everybody here, inclusive of us, was hyper conscious to not let that happen. So it's been more of the same, right? We've tried to continue to be super innovative on the powder side of things, super focused on expanding globally and really, I think, attacking some things that maybe took a back burner to, just how fast we were growing in beverage and just trying to kind of hang on for our lives, to the rocket ship, for lack of a better term, the past couple of years. So amazing to see you guys. Insane that it's already been, like I said, 10, 11, 12 months. Haven't had quite as much time for Call of Duty, but we'll get back. We'll get it back.
We've said this like 6 times in the last year. Like, I'm going to set up the computer this weekend. We're going to play it, and then one of us doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. But yeah, no, man. Look, things are good. The whole family here is happy, healthy. We're growing, and look, Ghost is 9.5 years old now, which is insane to me. And I've said this publicly quite a bit, but I mean every freaking word of it. Like, my goal is to build a 100-year brand, especially at this point. It's about legacy. It's about impact, not just for what we've tried to do, like, with our brand, but also I think to the industry at large. So I got basically 91 years to go.
So you say a 100-year brand. You want Ghost to be a 100-year brand. What's an example of a 100-year brand? Like, what do you think of when you think of that?
I mean,
I think of Disney.
Yeah, Disney, sure. I mean, you look at, like, they're not 100 yet, but they will be, the Nikes of the world. I believe like the Apples of the world will be there. 100-year brand Oreo is 100 years, then Coke's 100 years. I mean, so there's a lot of, I think, great examples of, brands that have outlasted any one of their creators or, creative teams or families. And I think it's a really big and lofty goal for us to aim to be that. So I want to create something, and everyone here wants to create something that, far outlives any of us.
What kind of product lives 100 years for Ghost? Because you started in supplements, and I can't imagine what pre-workouts are going to be like in 100 years or 91 years. But energy, like a packaged product like energy, seems like it might be something that can last a long time. And
yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, I think a lot of products have a lifespan, just based on evolutions of needs and buying tendencies and just technology and everything else. But I think platforms and brands don't. Right, they're living, breathing things. And I think that's what's really special. I mean, the first computers that like an Apple came out with looked nothing like today's machines. Yeah. Of course, right. But I think like that's kind of the same goal. Like, we want to create a brand and like an ethos, a way of doing things, a platform, and then we're going to apply that to any product category that we go into. Today, obviously, it's been sports nutrition powders, energy drinks, hydration drinks, protein drinks, but we'll see where it goes tomorrow.
I mean, protein bars. That's been the big raise. I mean, it's not even beverage technically, but it's the new big thing right now. A lot of people are talking about it, and we've been talking about how so excited we are that, it's reaching a new type of consumer that's hopefully going to, eventually dip their toes into maybe like, oh, we had a Ghost bar, maybe try an energy drink, try a pre-workout, BCAAs, whatever. I mean, BCAAs have been a big launch for you guys too. So
yeah.
One thing that I talked about at Beverage Forum when I was on their their podcast was about how energy drinks, or I mean, mostly energy drinks, are like flags that you fly. Like people who drink a Ghost Energy, you can like kind of tell something about them by that can for the most part. Is that what you see when you think about like your brand? Do you see like a certain type of person using it?
I mean, I think we've always wanted to build a brand for everybody in the coolest of ways. I mean, we can go back to really vintage podcasts or ghost videos talking about how, you know, we're all ghosts. This is our time. And, you know, we don't want to be a bodybuilding brand or a CrossFit brand or, you know, a women's brand or the science brand. Like, we want to do all of those things and kind of, you know, unify under the flag of Ghost. But I think like what's really been interesting to see about energy drinks and some other kind of categories, like you said, people are really proud and they kind of identify with whatever that brand is. That's different. And when we first started Ghost, I said one of my primary goals was to decommoditize an industry that was rapidly trying to commoditize itself. Sports nutrition, 2014, 15, 16, like it really kind of got, I mean, a little boring and it's very like commodity driven, a little race to the bottom, promo this. And we said, no, like let's build a real brand, something that people are excited to be a part of, excited to rep, excited to take, not just in the 30 seconds that they chug something before going to the gym, but throughout their day, throughout their life, and evolve with it. So I think like now, you know, humbly, maybe we've been a small part of that, but you're seeing a lot of kind of brands have that kind of play that bigger role in people's lives than just a energy drink or just a pre-workout or a protein shake.
When we were coming up with like what this podcast from Bev Lab should feel like, one of my like inspirations that I brought up was you talking about the feeling of taking pre-workout with your bros for the first time. Like a little bit different that the pre-workout leads to the gym and there's a whole, you know, great thing around that, but like cracking energy drinks together.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that people do and you just sit and you just talk and chat.
Speaking of, we do need to crack our ennies.
yeah.
I've been waiting for hours for a Ghost Enny here, so
We have a strawberry watermelon.
Yeah, I said little can for a big
Yeah.
can.
nice. There you go.
But yeah, like the 8 ounces are cool. We came out with them to go into the bars, restaurants, you know, kind of festivals. They've been a huge hit. I think I underestimated how people wanted that smaller, more convenient format.
I was gonna say
So next year you're gonna see a lot of 8 ounces out in the wild too, and market and convenience stuff. So cheers, boys.
Cheers. Yeah, I was so surprised how with the 8 ounce, how it just fit into my lifestyle better, because I'll take a Ghost Legend in the morning for my workout, 300 milligrams caffeine. If I'm doing all out, like there's no way I'm gonna have this later in the day, but I can have an 8.4 ounce.
Yeah,
it's just enough to give me a little kick, good tasting, and
more flexibility, man.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's what it's all about. People, sometimes 16 ounces can be a lot of liquid, you know, for them, fair. And, you know, 8 ounces, you know, more convenient, more portable, less liquid. You can mix up your flavors, usage occasion. So I think like that's why people love that smaller can so much. Obviously, you've seen a lot of the world going to 12 ounces. For me, I question just the difference. Is there enough differentiation between a 12 ounce, which would, if we keep the same liquid, which we have here, have 150 mg of caffeine, versus a 16 at 200? To me, that's like so close that most people aren't going to appreciate it. This, to me, is easy to articulate. It's a half can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
100 mg caffeine, you know, half of all the other ingredients, carnitines, et cetera. Really easy to communicate what's going on here. So,
To give you guys credit, though, it's not actually half a can. It's actually a different blend, which you guys put in.
Yeah.
That costs you money to do, right?
Yeah.
It would technically be cheaper.
I think it's because like, look, if they made a perfect 8 ounce can, we would be going with that one. But
Okay.
it's actually a 250 milliliter can, which is 8.4 ounces. So
Okay.
versus the 16. Where have you ever seen like a true 500 mil can? It's a little bit taller. We have some around here somewhere.
I got some from Australia.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
for the
Yeah, it's a little
Reds.
bit taller. So this is actually a half can to that one. So here you're right. We're rounding.
Yeah.
But
I always like to point it out, like,
the details matter to Ghost.
you guys,
right?
you guys oftentimes will spend the extra cents to make it, you know, something that a lot of the time, frankly, people don't recognize even. Something you guys always
Look,
does.
we, especially in this, you know, Instagram driven world, I think like there's a danger, it's a slippery slope of things looking easy when really a lot of thought, care, and frankly, responsibility goes into each and every one of these details. And we're really proud of that. Right. So we want to make it really hard for people, even if they're not shopping us, to not at least appreciate what we're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe easier said than done some days, but I think year 9.5, we're starting to maybe kind of turn the corner there with even some of the people who doubted way back when.
Okay, so you launched Energy in 2020. We actually had the first sighting of it on our podcast. Which I'm really
Citrus,
proud of.
baby.
That was great.
Monochromatic can,
Yeah, no stripes or anything.
It's kind of crazy how much has happened since then.
Did it say no sugar in the original can? Because I think that's new. I don't feel like I've seen that as much.
I think that's been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been so many cans and iterations. Like if you ask me even how many different labels, flavors, and I can start counting them out right now, but I actually don't know off the top of my head.
That's actually a great segue into something I really enjoy, and I wanted to pick your brain a little bit more about is when you go into label designs, when you're thinking of, I want to design the next label, like what's your thought process when you're going to create the can, create the artwork, and what message you want that to bring to not only the consumer, but just to Ghost?
I mean, I think it's like a band going into a studio fresh off when we're young, so maybe that's why. Where sometimes you write the lyrics first, sometimes maybe it's the music first, and you kind of just get in there and you kind of jam it out and figure it out. So sometimes we're creating a can for a specific reason, a festival or licensed flavor, and it's really easy then because like the kind of direction creatively is given to us. Sometimes we want to pair like a flavor with maybe a color scheme. For example, when we did super rare, highly sought after, the used In Love and Death can because of the red heart, we're like, oh, cherry lime, it makes a lot of sense for this. So that's kind of what inspired that. But then the art direction was obviously inspired by their album, so we didn't take a lot of kind of creative liberties there. We wanted to really evoke the inspiration. There's a lot more variables when we go in there saying, hey, like raspberry cream, what do we want that to look like? Or like, hey, orange cream's been a very successful flavor for us. This is going to be a raspberry iteration. Let's make the cans really look kind of similar, but then obviously bring in the raspberry notes and the kind of flavor cue. So it kind of depends on the process. But, Ryan Hughes, co-founder, best buddy, CMO, like him and his team still, impress me and blow me away with kind of what they're coming up with creatively.
Intentionality is like one of the words I think of a lot with that stuff. Like there's always a story behind the cans, and a lot of times it doesn't even get communicated all the way to the end consumer. But I get a call from Dan just like showing me on FaceTime, like the when we were young with he's like, and then there's a UV layer, and like the only time you'll ever see the UV layer is like at a show.
Yeah,
but it's
we want to. Yeah, I mean when you're walking around the festival. I think it was the EDC can. When you're walking around the festival, number one, it's at night, so we wanted to make the Ghost logo glow in the dark, which is really cool. And then there's a UV layer because as you walk around the festival, you're experiencing all these different kind of black lights or different UV light moments. So the can's going to look different. And it's exciting because, again, if you're trying to decommoditize a commodity market, if you're trying to make this, product more exciting, not better necessarily, but more exciting than, those that came before us, we got to really think about those details. And maybe the biggest compliment that I got from the folks at EDC during that whole thing, when I sent them the label, like flats to approve, they said, did our team design this? And that's a huge compliment. I was like, no, we did, but we're fans. Like, we get it. And anyone that we collaborate with, whether it's a festival, whether it's a licensed brand, like it's not just the excitement or like, hey, this makes sense from a business perspective for us, but I actually feel the utmost responsibility to not be the person that like screws up a brand or it's a bad iteration of a brand that frankly we've been consumers of or hardcore fans of for years and years and years. I'm not going to be that guy that screws that up. So I think that's really where that kind of commitment and passion comes from. But it's not always about details over dollars has been something we've said for a long time. It's not always about anything directly contributing to the ROI or to the EBITDA. I think over the long run, building the brand and doing those things does, but you have to have patience and confidence and really like a passion for doing things that way.
This is really just a callback to like what set you guys apart when it came to collaborations. There's been a lot of collaborations since you guys have started. And that intentionality to like understand their brand and where the intersections is. Like one of my favorite things was with the Space Jam collabs. You guys commingled the cartoons with characters, with the humans.
My officially licensed picture of Lola Bunny, it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Seriously, one of the coolest collabs ever.
Yeah. But then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they told you guys you could not mix real life characters with cartoons.
And the reason was actually really great, right? If you remember, the reason was in the Space Jam, and I actually never saw the new one, so we're talking original, boycott the new one, MJ all the way. But in the original, right, there is a interplay of animated characters with live action with Michael Jordan and the other basketball players. But in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it didn't happen. Right, so the animated was just animated, which is what we were doing. We were doing the vintage kind of throwback, late '80s Konami cartoon, like so. They never played with kind of the real world, so they're like, no, we don't want to do that, and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And anytime we get that feedback or that criticism from any of our licensed partners, it's a good day. Again, there's a lot more variables when we're just doing a raspberry cream or something that's all in our control. So when I'm playing with another person's brand and they have a point of view and a perspective, I'm like the ultimate student of the game. I'm like, teach me. I want to learn, and I want to kind of articulate to our fan base.
Yeah. I mean, that's some of my favorite things that I've learned from you are like these like tiny little, the cinnamon from Cinnabon. You guys use the exact cinnamon that they use in there.
Yeah, Macar cinnamon. Yeah.
Like how many end consumers will really recognize that?
I mean, hopefully there's a familiarity and a nostalgia and a new usage occasion, that brings them back that maybe wouldn't be there with a different cinnamon.
Yeah.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Right. But again,
What you said about decommoditizing things, like I noticed that I've heard from real people, real life, that say, hey, I used to drink Monster and now I drink Ghost. And it feels a little different. Is there something different there? And like you said, you're not necessarily making, I like to think it's better, but you're not making this claim that it's like the best energy drink in the world, but you're getting it away from being a commodity.
Yeah.
Because most people go to a fridge and they just pick based on a color or a familiarity or something. Mm-hmm. But you're offering a slight statistic on there. When they see it, they think, oh, I'm going to get a little bit more focus there. I'm going to feel a little bit different there.
Yeah, I mean, one of, again, the driving kind of principles of Ghost has been we formulate for the 1% that get it, but we build the brand, the marketing, the message, the flavors for the 99%. So I think under the hood is our formula. If we're just going to compare formula in an Excel, is it better? I think there I can confidently say, hey, like our formula is better than the legacy energy drinks. It's just more robust, more complete. Fine. But as far as the total package goes, I'm always careful saying better or best or any of this stuff. I'll leave that to the reason I got off social media. All the people, everyone else can say that kind of stuff. There's always someone who's bigger, stronger, faster, who's got a bigger boat, man. Just kind of heads down and do your own damn thing. That's just been a key to my, I think, personal happiness and success there. But I think like for us, like, we just want to present something that's maybe more exciting that people look at and go, man, these guys really thought about it. These guys really care, right? They're fans, they're students of the game. Like that's what means a lot to us. That and, again, we talk about how things have gone in the last year and growth and future and all that. When people say, hey, like you guys haven't changed, like that's probably the, as big a compliment as saying, did our team do the design? That's right up there.
Yeah. I love, like, as your friend, getting to, like, point back when I was like, they're not going to change based on... It's like, how many times has there been, like, a big change at Ghost and people like, well, this is the time they cheap out on everything. Like, you guys don't understand, like, the driving force behind the company.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, because we, again, like, our mission is... We started Ghost because I didn't want to be maybe a part of a company or, companies with Ryan and his background and all that were like just aiming to be the biggest companies in the world or the most profitable or have the big, like that just was never our game, right? And goals are important in life. And I think I said this, previously, you guys, like goals are important and I hope everybody achieves theirs, especially now. I hope everybody achieves theirs. They want to be, have the biggest exit in sports nutrition history. If they want to make the most, I hope they get it. That's not our game, right? Our game, especially now, like I said, 100-year brand, continuing to make a difference, be disruptive, bring excitement and innovation to fans of the industry, just like us. Starts at home, starts with ourselves.
I'm honestly just a big fan of the mentality you bring. Like I see it on multi levels in what I'm doing and what other people are doing, but you kind of give the idea of there's enough pie for everybody. Like just do the best you can, bring what you have to the table, and next guy does it, great. I mean, it's just leveling up a whole industry. It's leveling each other up.
Yeah, look, competition breeds improvement, right? So it's funny. Bodybuilding.com interview I did in 2011, 2012. I think I actually said I sometimes root for the competition because if they kind of beat me at something, it's going to force me to go back to the drawing board and come out with something even better, the next iteration. And ultimately, who wins? The consumers, the fans. Right. And that's still true. Maybe, oh my gosh, 14 years later.
Yeah.
That's scary. Wow. That's scary. But it's very true. Right. And if anything, what I can tell you from a data driven perspective or just like, in your gut, it doesn't matter. It's the same. Like anytime there's been a bad event in our industry. Right. Like a brand blows up or, somebody gets caught doing this or that or whatever. It has not been good for business for any of us. The growth of the industry slows down, like the media starts asking questions about the validity of the industry, and we start to kind of, slip backwards into this era of taboo versus this era of like mainstream success and admiration of what we're all trying to do here. So yeah, I want everyone to rep the industry well, continue driving it forward, and like, game on. Let's go, compete out in the coolers out there or on the shelves or in shakers. Like, let's go do that. But like behind the scenes, we should be lifting each other up. I will just say, I wasn't always of that exact mindset. And I really do think that in the early days of starting a business, probably any category, it is a little bit kill or be killed. It is a little bit, you are fighting every day you wake up for your own survival. And I wish that wasn't really the case, but I'm sorry, it's kind of the case. But if you're lucky enough to get to a place where I've described it as a cruising altitude, where we're not at our destination yet, but like, we're at a safe altitude, whatever, just like the airlines, you put your oxygen mask on, what's next? You can help your neighbor. I think like that's kind of where we're very, blessed and fortunate enough to be now, where it's like, yeah, like I still want to win. I'm fiercely competitive. I want to still be in the seat if I wasn't, but like there's a way to win. There's a right way, and there's a way that kind of, continues to drive the industry forward and hopefully create opportunity and, again, create a bigger pie for everyone versus saying, it's all got to be mine.
Ghost was also in a very unique position when it came to competitiveness because you guys were the first of a new wave. You guys did have multiple copycats that, like, you really, a lot of people say that they got copied because someone used a similar color or something, but like people were literally using your namesake, your exact designs, like the exact colors. I feel like you were allowed to be competitive in those areas because you were fighting legacy sports supplement brands with a new lifestyle style that everyone wanted to have a piece of.
Yeah, and look, and we had no, I'll be honest, Ghost had to be successful. Like the level, trust me, never in a million years. Like this was not the plan. This was way off script. Like we never expected or even wanted any of kind of the scale or the size of the business that you see. Like that was not part of the plan here. But we just, I don't know, we really just focused on ourselves and, like without having a plan B, we had to will, right? That's kind of where that kind of protective and fierce came from, maybe back in the early days. Some of it I kind of regret maybe my approach there, but at the end of the day, like we did the best we could with the cards, we were dealt at every step of it. And, I'm grateful for where we are today and kind of the mindset. Maybe it's a more mature, more evolved mindset, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So,
yeah.
When it comes to the growth of the company, and I guess if you could go back, I know that everything happens for a reason. If maybe like the left turns where you should have taken a right. If you didn't take those turns, you wouldn't have got to where you are today. But if you could go back to day one, it was day one of Ghost, you want to do something different. Is there anything you would do different?
Honestly, the first answer I have is probably no. And the reason is I am not smart enough, nor is it important, to know what thing that we did opened the door for the next thing, or was the exact brick or the building block that kind of, made way for the next layer or the next door to open. I'm a huge believer, and so all the new people that join us over the years, huge believer that every conversation, every handshake, every cocktail, every night out, expo, podcast, friendship, drop into Verdansk, it all matters. You don't know how it matters at the time, and again, it's not really that important, but it's the smallest details that really inform you in sometimes the most subtle ways and sometimes in big ways, as far as your perspective on the world and how you want to approach a category, how you want to approach a product development, meeting, projects, community, all of it. And so although there's maybe some things I wish broke differently or we made some mistakes here or there, at the end of the day, I don't think I would change anything, because I really do believe it was all cumulative and, holy crap, like look where we are today. I'm just grateful and humble for all of it.
That's awesome.
Your position on a lot of things has changed. It was really fun to watch, again, as a friend. Because, I used to watch you fly off the handles and comment sections, and rightfully so.
I kind of miss it.
Yeah, they were good times.
That part was fun.
They were good times.
That part, yeah, I know. But to be honest, even now, like it's, I'm defensive of the industry, defensive of the brand, but it is a little bit of a different mindset right now, because again, it's not kill or be killed forever.
Yeah,
right. That'd be a tough way to live.
Well, it was funny because I don't hit you up with social media things anymore, because I know you're at peace in many ways, and I don't disturb that. But we used to have a big thing about leaks. You and I would get pissed about this stuff, and there were a few times where some retailers did it, and I'm sure people lost their jobs over some kind of big collabs that shouldn't have been let out. For whatever reason, they're left on top of a fridge in Grand Central Station in New
Yeah.
York or something. But nowadays, you had a great tweet a couple weeks ago where you were like, we're at such a great point where people are making fake cans online or leaking things to retailers.
Yeah, I said it's not lost. I mean, that 10 years in, people are still that excited. I know we're in a different era of like AI and just the accessibility of the average like person to kind of make a render. Yeah. Now it's completely different.
It's weird,
but it is.
It is really weird.
It is weird. But that being said, I don't remember back in 2016 when we started Ghost, any other brand in the history of the industry having fans create labels or pretend leak stuff or any of this like or really like I just don't remember that occurring. Like maybe it did. But I just don't remember it. And so now, it's one thing to be like, man, we're putting a lot of hard work into this launch and we want to surprise people. We want to excite them. Again, we want to like talk about just the goal of what we're trying to do here. Sometimes it feels like it gets undermined in the moment when there is a leak. But again, having that excitement and that dedication, that passion, for us is something I'm just immensely humbled by and grateful for. And, we're going to continue to try to like really batten down the hatches with, some stuff that we've got coming. But ultimately, like, look, it's all fair in love and war.
It's the renders that blow my mind. I have friends that call me, like the leak thing pisses me off, I'll be honest. Like it's like really frustrating when we like have an NDA and like we're like sitting on something and every time someone guesses I have to like smile and be like, I don't know. Dan hasn't told me this. Like
how's your poker face nowadays?
Really, it's fine. Okay. I don't talk to you as much anymore, so I have less to get to lose. But like for a little bit I felt like Tom Holland. The thing that he kept like getting on Jimmy Fallon and like leaking everything. Yeah. I'm sitting here like, I don't know. But the fake things, like the fake cans.
Yeah.
Because sometimes...
You want me to tell you a secret on this one? We have never once had a single conversation, tried anything, thought of anything, single text about blueberry cream. I don't have any idea where that's come from. But before you say anything else, at this point, I'm like, maybe we should. Maybe we should.
You guys listen to customers.
But I'm going to be honest with you. Seeing all that stuff, I swear to God, we have never had a single conversation about this thing, which is like a confirmed like.
I was fooled. Could have fooled me for sure.
I don't know where it came from, and now I'm like, maybe we should. Maybe there should be a cream pack with the three of them. Maybe I have no idea. We've never, and we still today we have not even tried it once or anything at this point. But like, look, we listen, we laugh, we smile. That's what it's all about. Listen, you brought this up already, but like Ghost was started really on this idea of, like me and my buddy Ryan, like, swapping pre-workouts or like, like I want to try a scoop of this, that whatever this, take our, mix it up in our shaker, fire up like FIFA or Tony Hawk, me kick his butt, and then we go to the gym. And I'm like, man, like, we're not the only people, we can't be the only people that are like this weird. Get back and pour a protein shake on top of Captain Crunch. Like, there's got to be other people who think like this or do this or, also like to kind of go out and have a big night. And, we tell that story all the time of like, Olympia, maybe 2012, and a lot of our, friends and who are athletes and whatever in that world, like they're all out with us and hiding can't be seen drinking. And I'm like, why? Just tell it like it is. Like, so Ghost was started from this place of like realness and camaraderie and just like friendship of just going into the gym with your boys or like just living, like all that. Like, we just wanted to kind of do that at scale, both, in the real and also, through digital. So when you start seeing people talking about all these things, it reminds me of a very, very, very early Ghost clip, maybe the very first video we ever put out, where I'm standing at my like kind of kitchen bar talking to Ryan and saying like, do you remember like talking about how cool it would be to make our own flavor of protein? And it's funny because obviously we're here now, and that's kind of what the point of that video was, but it's a real conversation that happened. So I imagine like if I was back when I was just starting to lift, like early 20s, and I really wanted to flavor this, but I didn't have like a way to communicate that to a brand or a way to get that out there. So now that people can, and they're that excited to do that, and also do that through the lens or like vehicle of Ghost, I just thank you, right, to everyone. And we're listening, but we've never had a conversation about blueberry cream. So
I just feel like the consumers are willing it. Yeah. Like, you might as well do it. That's
why I think that it's cool to see.
I'll tell you this. I showed the CEO of KDP all the fan art, like Dr. Pepper Ghost, right? I sent him a link. I didn't read all the comments, and I was like, oh, that's wow. That's spicy. But people are excited for the possibility of these things. And again, like that's just, it's not lost on me. Brands, you know, not necessarily in our industry, but just out there in the world, like brands pay endless amounts of money to third parties to try to create that kind of excitement. So again, I'm grateful, and it's humbling. No shortage of, gratitude and pinch me moments over here.
So Dr. Pepper Ghost Energy is happening, is what you're confirming?
That one obviously has been a conversation, but I don't have any answers on it. I think it would go hard though.
I think you could do well with it.
I would drink cases for sure. I'm sure there's plenty of other people, like with the BevLab page, there's plenty of comments, people asking when it's going to happen. You see endless renders of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's obviously been a big year, a news heavy year for Ghost and licensing and our license portfolio. So there's going to be some significant changeover going into next year. That's exciting. I think if anything, though, it's a reminder, whether it's, a partner of ours or not, it's a reminder of how brands really need to kind of live and stand on their own. And it's one thing that I've been really proud of and talked about over the years is that although the licenses and collaborations we have driven a ton of volume, and drove a ton of trial in the early days. Like, and if you look at like the IRI data, our own flavors like cherry limeade, pink lemonade, the iced tea lemonade this year, like are selling just as well, or sometimes have better repeats than even some of those collaborations. So it's got to be a good balance attack, but it's a good reminder, of that. So we definitely have a lot more, kind of cool licenses up our sleeves that we're excited to kind of bring to the world at some point. We also have a lot of great Ghost flavors too.
There's so many different directions to go from there. You guys have a lot to talk about. And so you guys lost the Mondelez collabs. Is that effectively like out, or are you guys out of that inventory, or like where are you at in that role?
No, what I said on my Twitter and all that is really the message, which is, we agreed to kind of soft land things and sunset that partnership ending in like April, May of next year. So they'll be available, I think, through that time. And, as you know, for talking beverage, stores kind of choose when they refresh what's on their shelves. It's generally a rolling process. Some stores as early as December, but generally like January through April or May. So basically, like, I think as stores change out what's on their shelf, it'll you'll see some new stuff from us coming at that point.
So that was like
I will say this, and I've been right 100% of the time, but I don't have the answer to this, but it'll be interesting to see where that license lands, because it has to land somewhere. I mean, that's the thing with licensing just in general is, I had no idea when we launched Warheads Watermelon in 2016 what we would cause. So I'm part proud of it and part like I'm sorry, for it, because it created this kind of magnetism, this vacuum of brands feeling like, oh my gosh, we need a license to break through. But then also on the licensing side of things, any company out there, doesn't matter category, brand, flavor, if it's a food or not food, all these guys are now, turned on to the energy drink space, to the protein powder space, saying, oh my gosh, I am not delivering either for my company or for my client sometimes if I'm not monetizing this whole vertical, which is now obviously very big. Yeah. So I think it's just interesting whenever I hear anybody's licensing, I'll sometimes catch wind of like, a food brand is licensing in a different category. Oh, they're looking for a water partner. Just put it on your calendar. At some point, they're going to come to our industries too. So it's just why I can kind of call the shot that way. So it'll be interesting. But that's, again, as a consumer and as a fan, that's what makes all this fun. And as a kind of founder CEO, I'm very proud of the way we articulated and iterated all these licenses. And I would be worried about the comp.
As an energy drink consumer, what's been your most excited collaboration you guys have done in energy space so far? Personally, just for you.
Outside of some of the festivals that have meant a lot to me personally, it probably is the Sour Strips can. And the reason is, again, very close to home. I was in Sydney, Australia, walking in Darling Harbour after the Sydney Fitness Expo, I don't know how many years ago, like 6 years ago, with my buddy Max Tuning, and him talking about how he kind of wanted to, kind of create this business and a brand of sour candy. And no, there's not going to be any function. It's going to be actual candy and the whole thing. And introducing him to some mutual friends of ours to oversee some labels and just trying to guide him like out of the blocks a little bit. And just to see what he's been able to build from a business perspective, ultimately, selling that business to Hershey, to see where he's gone, as a human being, first and foremost, married, now as a kid. I mean, like just seeing the evolution and growth of the family is what makes all this really cool, right? And so I'm really proud of him and that can, and also how much people love it. Like that, it just, that's where it's like, to have a friend start something and then kind of all of a sudden, boom, it's here and it's become one of our most sought after cans. It's a proud moment.
Even Strawbango. I mean, Strawbango, I feel like might have more of a pull than Sour Strips. Strawbango, at least in my comment sections, is way wilder. But it's now a permanent flavor for you guys.
Yeah, Strawbango this past year was permanent in, I think, Circle K and Walmart.
Okay.
And it's not going anywhere for next year.
Can I ask you a question? And if this is too much, let me know. But you removed the margarita and you removed like the max tuning like part of that, but that kind of is like his flavor. Like, does he still like kind of get any of that? Or
no, I mean so we removed the margarita, I think, to strengthen, like, to strengthen Strawbango by itself was really the most important part. And again, as we start to navigate all the different things we're doing on premise and not in cans and all, we just want to be very clear. It was one thing when it was on a Legend tub.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally understand.
It's a different game when it's in a can.
So no one knows his face.
Yeah. Well, the facing is separate from the flavor. I think on the face side, I think that was more, again, you hit the nail on the head as far as just like max, just to maximize like the, I don't know, just appeal of it where people don't know who this guy is or that, or, but ultimately, again, we've continued to grow what we've done with them. So, Sour Strips and everything else he's doing with the brand. So
awesome. That's really cool. I've been watching Max for so long. I watched him before, like I knew about Ghost, and it just feels good to support good people.
Yeah. I mean, when we started working with him, he had never had a sponsorship in this industry. He worked with like an online retailer. Got like some free product and stuff, and just to see again like what he's built, like that's really cool. Everyone, I mean, all the OGs, right? It's been awesome to see what they built. So
Guzman's like the poster child of that whole conversation. Remember you talked
about
him
and
demos
like,
in his college dorm, right?
I mean, Christian and I go way back. He was an affiliate for a company that I was at prior. I was like, who the heck is this kid driving all these sales? Because at that company, the affiliates were kind of managed by almost my sales team versus a marketing team. So I was like, who is this kid? And then so I called him up. I'm like, hey man, wow, you're like right down the street, from headquarters. You must know those guys really well. You have a gym. They probably go out work out there all the time. This is like the little blue gym, right? Yeah. And he goes, no, I've never met anyone. I said, host, what are you doing tomorrow? I hopped on a flight and went down there and just worked out. And we became kind of really good friends, since that time. And he was a day one part of our story. And, we rode together for like 8-9 years. Obviously, like some of the news, I think earlier in the year, as far as him, thankfully, after a long fight, getting, back control of 3D and his goals to grow his own brand, which is really exciting. And a part of a group that's going to really help him do that. So, nothing but the best. And like I say, cruising altitude, right? It's like I really want him to reach his goals too. He freaking deserves it.
Yeah.
That guy created a lot for a lot of people. And I really just hope he finally focuses on him and his family and freaking just building it for himself. That was advice I've given him directly tons of times, but he deserves every bit of it. So
3D's kind of going a different direction than Ghost too, just like in no negative way, but just being much more cost efficient, doesn't have all the extra ingredients. I mean, just marketing to a different consumer, and there's value for that, I think.
Exactly what I would do with it.
Yeah. How have those extra nootropic ingredients over the last 5 years affected like Ghost? Like, how often do you have to fight to keep those in the formula?
They come up the most internationally because there's a lot more guardrails and different things. So we have different formulas internationally. I think the only time they ever get talked about domestically is when you're seeing like the international variants just performing so well. And it's like, well, if a simpler formula is performing so well in these other markets, why are we keeping it here? But to me, that just makes Ghost Ghost. So no plans to kind of change any of that unless there's regulatory or compliance things that kind of come down the pipe.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up foods. I know we're on a beverage podcast, but
No, it's fine. I was gonna pivot into another thing too. So bring up foods, bro.
you guys partnered with General Mills, and we haven't spoken since then either. What's the partnership with General Mills like?
Yeah, it's a two-way partnership. So it's, again, different and kind of adding, incremental to kind of what we're doing. We're licensing, some of their brands. You obviously saw the Count Chocula drop that we did this fall.
Banger.
I mean,
banger.
proof that if you really nail the details, simple is good. Right. So that was really nostalgic and really cool. And I think obviously what we're doing there is saying, hey, like there's probably a lot more coming in that world of protein powder. But the first thing we did them, of course, is they licensed Ghost, which is really humbling and cool, to create the cereal. And so it launched obviously peanut butter and then marshmallow. And then on our birthday this year, we kind of trotted out a little bit of a sneak peek preview of Ghost doing an official Cinnamon Toast Crunch collab, which again, as a lifelong consumer, and again, find the old Ghost episodes where we're ranking our favorite cereals without any of this even being an idea, right? That's where, again, the authenticity is undefeated, and this whole story of serendipity and why I wouldn't change anything, because I don't know what point us saying, like, so, but yeah, I mean, just to be able to work with that brand in that way, I think is really special. That's going to be hitting shelves pretty soon. And I think you're going to see some other kind of cereal innovation coming from us with them kind of in short order as well. And then last but not least, we just rocked Ghost protein bars. And it's funny because, we probably should have had a bar out years and years and years ago. But I think very openly, I didn't want to go to a white label manufacturer where everybody is making the same dang thing. Like I've said before, it's a Chipotle of protein bars. So what's your base? What's your topping? Do you want guac with that? Right? We just didn't want to get into that kind of mosh pit of just mediocrity, frankly. Right? Or for the ones that aren't mediocre and they have a great idea, they catch a spark. What happens? Give it 2 months, 3 months. Everybody's got the same thing. We just didn't want to get into that. So we spent a lot of years developing kind of our own idea, our own chassis, had problems kind of really commercializing it. Food is very difficult to make, very difficult to do.
Is that the food you showed me like 4 years ago? I still haven't. I have it on my computer. I never released it.
There's a couple different ideas.
Okay.
But to me, the, kind of candy, the 2-stick candy bar, format was one that I was really excited to do. Look, you have a little bit higher macros on it because it's more surface area, so you're going to have more of that like kind of chocolate coating just inherently, right, because of it. But I think it's, it's more shareable, portion control, right? It just looks better than this like little log, and it's different. We didn't create it. Like it actually exists over in Europe, and I think in Australia there's some different ones, kind of over there. But I don't know why it never was brought to the U.S. because it just seems like it would work. Maybe the reason is it's really hard to make and really hard to manufacture, and we found that out even via General Mills. But ultimately, we got it out. It took a long time. And look, sometimes I've said this for years too. The best innovation is inches, not miles. At the end of the day, it's still a freaking protein bar. It's not some big game changing. I'm not sitting here saying that, but is it maybe a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun? Hopefully, and that's Ghost.
It was one of the first projects that Spencer got to manage when he came on, and it was funny because he called me and he was like, "It's just enough different." Like that's like the Ghost is literally just saying, "Hey, it's just enough different for it to be Ghost." And I feel like with a lot of Ghost products, you guys have always like hit like real grand slams. You come in and you introduce something completely new. Like your energy drink was completely new, a new concept of having transparency, of like really good doses, of really big stuff. Collabs like out of the gates was something that had not happened before. And with the bars, I felt like some commenters or some viewers kind of felt like it was,
underwhelming, maybe.
Maybe that's a word for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it took us 8-9 years, and I don't know if there is a game change opportunity right now in protein bars. Yeah. If there is, I promise you, we're working hard on figuring out what the path is looks like there. But sometimes it doesn't have to be.
For the record, I wasn't saying I feel that way, but I think a lot of those people didn't consider the cross selling that can happen. Those can be on shelf in a grocery store in a way that
or promoted with an energy drink at every major convenience store across the country. But if I just ask us to step back for 1 second, okay? I knew that because so many years had gone by without us launching a Ghost kind of protein food, we had to do something special, groundbreaking, and different. I also knew that I did not think that opportunity existed in a protein bar. So what do? We launched a cereal first, because that is different. Mm-hmm. And then not only just the cereal, but then we announced the Cinnamon Toast Crunch official cereal, which by the way is in tens of thousands of stores already and crushing with General Mills. That whole partnership and that iteration of a food, I think, is completely different than anything the industry has seen. Look, we're still working on improving it and getting better and more flavors and all these things, but I think that was a very big, no one's done this before. Mm-hmm. A little novelty to our category, but still no one's done that. And my thinking was, okay, we did the whole thing, which is such a big leap forward. Now we can kind of bring out the bar, which I think is something a lot more people are going to enjoy and use maybe daily.
Yeah.
But it's an inch different, not a mile. So that was kind of deliberate in why we did the cereal first versus the bar, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I still love them.
I do too. What's your favorite flavor?
Of the bar, cookie dough.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your second, though?
Chocolate caramel.
Interesting. Okay. It came out first, obviously, and I really enjoyed it. But then when the other two came out, maybe it was like flavor fatigue that I had eaten all of those. But it actually became my third. Chocolate peanut butter is my second.
They're all, I like them all. One thing we try to do, which is very subtle, was differentiate the coating. So a lot of times bars, no matter what the flavor is, they all have the same exact chocolate coating, but it's actually like a more milky chocolate versus a darker chocolate. And so we kind of try to make them a little bit different.
It's all in the details, bro.
But
Yeah. What were you going to pivot into before?
How long have you been off social media?
I killed my personal account. I rented a place in Colorado to go kind of ski for a month. Like kind of go ski in the morning, work in the afternoon. That must have been, I think, January of 22. And I posted a pic. I was in the backwoods of Colorado just ripping solo. Posted a pic of a tree. Do not disturb. And I was like, I'm going to kill my Instagram. And I always just intended it would be like a week or two. And the first thing I noticed was my thumb was going to that spot where the icon used to be. I'm like, man, we're addicted. And then like a week or two, goes by. I'm like, I feel more present, more focused. People were checking on me. Hey, like, it's been a while. How are you? Because the reality is we live in a voyeuristic world. We do. Mm-hmm. People think they know you. They think you're okay. They think whatever. Why? Because they saw a couple stories you posted. Oh man, Ben's covering supply side. He must be doing really well. Like you want to reach out to your friends, reach out to your partners, your peers, make sure they're doing good. We live in a crazy world, right? And it's just so much more personal and meaningful, I think. So in addition to kind of, wanting to focus more, which I talked about, reduce access to myself, right? If everyone can access you 24/7 and you meet someone on the street, they know how to get a hold of me, right? Like just eliminating that to just focus and really be able to double down on the things and the people that matter most to me was really important. But to me, the greater connectivity, the more personal, the more meaningful connectivity that came out of it is kind of maybe the unintended impact and why I just never went back. So
I think it might be ironic. It probably is ironic because most people that look at Ghost and look at your lifestyle, like you live in Vegas, obviously righteously successful, but I remember a time when people would call me and ask, like, those episodes on YouTube, like, those are scripted, right? Like, that's all, they, like, make that up and film it, right? I'm like, every single decision on every single one of those episodes is literally Dan and Ryan doing exactly what they want in that moment. And it's ridiculously authentic. And I remember one episode where you were, like, in China in the airport, and you were talking about the meaning of a handshake.
The fact that clip is pre-COVID is wild.
Yeah.
When you think about what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I guess anyone who really knows you, I don't think they could see you as like a, materialistic social media person. Even though your social media was obviously covered in very cool pictures. People who actually knew you realized that every single one of those episodes was authentic. It was exactly you. And that episode of you in China talking about, like, that could have been a phone call if you really wanted it to. But the difference of being in person and shaking a hand, that all those little conversations, like you mentioned before, all of them matter.
Yeah, it was the middle of the night or early morning. I think I was in Hong Kong, and I said that travel, for people who haven't seen it, I said travel puts life in perspective. And like, sure, I actually want to date myself. I believe I said Skype call. I said, sure, this could have been accomplished on Skype. 2019 is like before Zoom and everything happened, right? I was like, but nothing will ever replace, meeting in person or trying a sample or hand delivering something like right off the line, I think is what I said. And it's really true. And I think I called out the world getting so digital and disconnected that was just so important. And I mean, it's funny because everything that happened after that with kind of COVID and the digital meeting culture now and all this stuff, it's become even more true. So that one aged really well. But to answer your other question, no, none of the Ghost episodes were ever really scripted at all. We had a good idea of maybe where we'd be or what the meeting was going to be about. But we just knew we'd kind of pull the highlights out of it to kind of share with the world as much as we could without maybe tipping off, showing our full hand, I guess. And if anything, to be very, very candid, I think it's one reason why we've spent a lot of time and maybe even struggled a little bit to figure out what the right way is to keep that going. Where me and Ryan maybe can't be the focus of every single episode. I still do it. I pop up here and there, when we were young this year, I was wearing a wig. I'll be honest, I said it wasn't a wig at the time, but it's a wig. I wish it wasn't. If I could, I would, baby. Blessed in a lot of ways, not that way. But no, I'm happy to do it when the opportunity avails, but it's a little bit tougher than it was. The pace of life is a little bit different. The meetings, the stakes are a little bit higher. Maybe some people aren't as comfortable, with cameras in the room and so on. So I definitely miss having that connectivity to the world. It is something we're trying to still figure out what like a V2 or V3 of that connectivity and that kind of thing can look like. But even though I wanted to and have stayed maybe more private and under the radar, off the grid with my personal social, I will always show up when it's like for the brand and on the brand social and all that. And that commitment hasn't changed at all. So
yeah, I miss the days of like you going into mosh pits on the channel, those moments where Lawrence wasn't with you guys. Like it was you on a cell phone, I think.
Yeah, probably. At the Day to Remember show, I was like calling Ryan out because he was all the way in the mezzanine.
You were down in the pit.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah, man. That's the only play. And look, it's funny. The more things have, maybe changed, the more it stayed the same. Because I was right back in that pit at noon the other day when we were young, like a week ago. So,
well, being off social media, owning a behemoth of ghost energy, ghost lifestyle, when you're not traveling, you're home. What does a normal day look like for you now?
Well, one of the big changes in my life this year is got a puppy, got a dog.
Let's go. What kind of dog?
Boston Terrier. He's a big boy. His name's Bond. He's got black and white, wearing the tux. Bond. He's a gentleman. Made sense.
Nice.
But look, the two of us are up every day, like 5 a.m. Early walk for him. Feed him. Make my early calls. I love like calls 6 to maybe 6:45, 7 in the morning when I'm kind of, en route to the gym or maybe doing a little conference call cardio, like on the treadie or whatever.
Two birds.
And then I started blocking off my calendar this year from like 7 to like 8:30 in the morning to just give myself time to get a workout in and then, kind of change and get my tail out of the office. And then I'm still heads down and, doing everything I can to grow this thing and that ever was. But I will say, like, if anything though, it's a different muscle to be passionate about flying the jumbo jet. And it's something I'm still kind of working on a little bit. But the key to kind of my personal, I think, kind of happiness and focus has been really keying in on the more entrepreneurial growth areas of the business that still feel a lot like Old Ghost. So obviously, like on powders, like trust me, I'm all in. And next year, I think it's going to be a big year, an important year of what we're kind of doing there. We're not losing focus like you've seen some other folks when the energy drinks start to get big, not losing focus or pulling back at all. So that's one. International, an area that has been very, very important to me since we launched. I at one point had aspirations to be like this brand that launched everywhere globally all at once. Turned out it's a lot harder to do that than I thought. Add Brexit and tariffs and all this other stuff, gotten even harder. But that's still, it's got this like kind of small entrepreneurial, like, figure it out, scrappy, kind of mentality to it. And then on premise, everything we're doing going into the bars and the festivals and, the clubs, restaurants. I mean, that's Mount Everest. There's only been one brand to ever go there before. No one else has done anything there. So we know that that's a tall mountain to climb. And I'm up for that challenge. And I got a great team, on that with me.
This is about the point where I start to ask you if you want to leak anything to us, if you have anything new coming.
I was about to ask powder-wise.
Not blueberry cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, and it's so funny because, saying first and all that stuff, using any kind of superlatives like that, it's funny because it's a moving target. When this comes out, who knows what the rest of the world's working on. But we got some really kind of cool things coming around Black Friday this year. We've had a lot of success this year with Clear Protein. We first teased that, I think maybe a year and a half ago with Sydney Cummings as like a collab. Didn't really know how it was going to do. Everyone was super excited by it. That's been like one of the hottest selling kind of product categories for us this year. So we have kind of a innovative spin, might use the word first, coming around Black Friday this year. Cool. That's number one. I already said like 8 ounces next year, going to be broad and convenience and all of that. We're getting very close to a return of Ghost protein ready to drink next year.
Can we talk about why that went away?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a couple things. Why it went away, but more importantly, why it hasn't come back yet. It went away because we had problems keeping up with demand and producing. It was, I mean, what year is that? 2020, 2021?
Yeah.
You're kind of like still had this kind of, COVID halo kind of thing out there from getting on the line and all of that. The partner that we had didn't really have any line time for us. They committed to a very small amount of bottles. That was like too big for specialty, but not big enough for the rest of the world. And when you start launching energy drinks in, major grocery and convenience, and then they're like, hey, we want these protein drinks. I'm like, can't make them. I can't make enough. That's a problem. It's tough to explain. And then I think maybe because we only had remnant line time, like candidly, there were some quality issues, right? People getting like some clumpy, like no one wants a clumpy protein shake. Trust me, no one. Starting with me, and definitely not Ryan. Okay. So we made a tough decision to kind of say, hey, like we got to wind this thing down for now. And we talked about it over the years, bringing it back and what that would look like, and do we want to go down the same road? I'm happy we didn't. I don't know that emulsified protein drinks are really the way of the future. Okay. I think you're kind of starting to see some other kind of trends happening, and I think you're starting to see some other verticals that could use a little bit of Ghost. So that's all I'll say for now. But I'm excited that they're finally coming back next year.
Cool. Yeah, we've been tracking a bunch of. I won't push you on this because if you don't want to talk about it, but we've been tracking a bunch of different protein RTD options now. It's starting to diversify away from that like lean body. I mean, they kill the category, but it's nice to see some differences.
Yeah, I mean, Premier, huge business. Lean body, huge business. Muscle milk is still out there in a big way. You've seen a lot of, obviously, and probably what I drink the most when I'm on the road now, when you're in the airports, it's a lot of Core Powers.
Mm-hmm. Like a filtered milk.
Yeah, right. Filtered milk. You're starting to see the guys in cans do that too, like Slate being probably the one I see out there the most, but there's a few other smaller ones too. It's an interesting lay of the land. Yeah. And obviously, like clear protein, although it's new and ready to drink, it's also not new because all of us are drinking the super mouth drying glass bottle of Isopure back in like 2008. So don't talk to me about new until you've, yeah. But still, like it's an interesting lay of the land, and I don't think there's really been something
there's
emerge.
pallets of it at Costco.
Yeah.
Right. Like that says something.
Massive business.
What.
Yeah, it's a massive business. Yeah.
How's everything going with Ghost Hydration? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, interesting question, right? We launched hydration, and I think we went to market selling it a little bit like we sell energy drinks, single bottles. And that's not really how people buy hydration. There's obviously an anomaly of one brand out there that kind of did that and was, very much a meteoric rise, and whatever after that. It's up for your own interpretation. But I think for us, not having those things cold everywhere, only having them single where people are buying like, big packs of all the legacy guys, it kind of put us into a weird place. We pulled back distribution on it this year, came out with some great new flavors, and we've really attached it to almost all of our festivals that we have Ghost Energy at. Nice. And it's been a huge platform there. So we know there's a great usage occasion. People love them at those fests. I think we're figuring out the right retail path forward there, but it's a product that we all love. I think like the new flavor suite that we introduced this year, it's a little bit of a milder, more subtle flavor, has gone a long way. Mm-hmm. And I mean, some of these festivals that they're at, I mean, they account for like 20% of the beverage sales. It's insane. Now, again, usage occasion versus like sustainable category, like something that we're kind of sussing out, but we all love them a lot. Yeah. And, we're definitely going to kind of continue and, to introduce some new stuff with that next year.
You said on premise is the mountain that you want to summit. So if that's working at concerts, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, on premise, energy is obviously the big dog there. You're not really used to seeing those products on premise. A lot of places. There've been a few places here in Vegas that I've seen kind of start to have, especially some of the pools start to have sports drinks. It's a little bit, I don't know, a little strange for me, but the festival thing and those big, large scale events, that makes a lot of sense. So. But like, look, a rising tide raises all boats, and more recognition in any of these channels, specifically in on-premise, is the name of the game. And I mean, for on-premise, outside of it being very near and dear to us, like, I mean, we started this whole business, talking about like being inspired to the bar and the club, and music and all these things, so to be available there is really special. But outside all of that, I mean, on-premise success absolutely drives off-premise demand. People have a great time. They have a mixed drink they like, or they have it, at a festival, whatever. They're going to go to that grocery store whenever they get home to wherever they're from, and hopefully they're buying it there too. Like that's kind of the goal.
We were joking about how hard it is to get Ghost Energy in Vegas. Like,
We went searching last night, man. We went on a trek.
we were looking far and wide.
I mean, just to list out that, look, in the grocery stores, we're in all of them. That's easy.
We went to Walgreens eventually.
Yeah, so but like the Smiths here, which is the Kroger affiliate, Albertsons, proper is here as well. Walgreens, national partner of ours. CVS, national partner of ours. Convenience wise, I think like the local regional player here, Terrible's, is probably one of my go-tos. We are in 7-Elevens as well. Out here, a lot of franchise, so sometimes flavor variability varies. But Terrible's does a phenomenal job. Circle K's out here too. They're an amazing national partner of ours also.
Got it. Cool.
It's truly been a beautiful time to just walk just about anywhere and just see 2 for $5, Ghost Enny, something like that. It's been so nice to be able to also just see different flavors at different spots. I love it.
I saw it in Manhattan. It was like, I don't know. You see it in certain parts of certain cities. You're like, that's
You get
really
that
cool.
like heart flicker when
Walking
you
in
see-
Manhattan, I was there recently for an event, and our old stomping grounds, right? I had an office there for a while. Me and Hughes became, buddies in New York too. And like seeing ghosts in like random bodegas, like that hit. It's always really special to see a full shelf at Circle K or Casey's or one of these major chains. But like just seeing like your, just a bodega on the corner of like 25th and 6th, and then just have like a full shelf of ghost. It's cool. It's hard to describe. It's just really like, it's cool.
My favorite like ghost moment right now is when I go into like a bodega or like, it's definitely third party, and they have some like limited time that like it doesn't make sense how they probably got this.
Black cherry with
probably shouldn't be
warheads or
saying this in
something.
front of like the
They
CEO.
have like the can from Ryan's wedding, and you're like, what?
Yeah, like I'll walk into a bodega and they'll have like an exclusive Vitamin Shop flavor or like something, and this dude's like bribing a distributor or like buying them on a coupon or something.
walking in on Dollar Drink Weekend and loading up.
There you go.
We know if we try to quantity gate those, but we know it's. Look, man. Like I said, you got, at some level, just grateful and excited for all of it. The fact that it's there, the fact someone cared that much, the fact that they want to maybe serve their local customer so much that they're buying it third party and probably not making more than pennies on that thing, but they're still carrying it. Like that's cool. So every time I go into one of the stores, I'm always facing the cans, and it's funny.
That's a habit that dies hard, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, when you're proud of it, this has been our life's work, and if anything, for better or for worse, sometimes for worse, Ghost has been a very personal statement.
Yeah.
Right. We really built this brand and this company off of people and products and brands that inspire us, that we love, very close to home, and seeing what it's become and where it's still going. There's just no words to describe that experience. For me, my favorite maybe ghost moment, at least of the year, if not all time, was this year. I don't know if I sent you the clip or not, but this year at Warped Tour in California, one of my favorite bands of all time, Silverstein, playing on the Ghost stage, headlining. It's like 50,000 people at the stage. And right near the end of his set, he goes, man, shout out, to Ghost Energy. This is their stage. It's like, I know the owner, Dan. He grew up going to Warped Tour. This means a lot to him. It's not some corporate bullshit, right? And I was like, man, that's my why. And people are like, man, you should be on a beach right now or something. No, man, that's my why. That's why we got 91 years to go. More of that. We're just scratching the surface.
there's another Warped Tour this year, right? In November, is it Orlando?
Yep.
Okay.
And next year they're expanding to 5.
Are you going to Orlando?
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more I got to get to.
The Ghost stage is stacked.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll be there.
I think that's refreshing. Just seeing I don't know. I had to talk to my gym owner the other day, and he's mopping the floors, and it's just, he's like, dude, I would do this, even though I own the gym, day one, whatever. I just care about this place so much. And you have that personality, you have that mindset of, I feel like I could walk in, you could be vacuuming the office, and it's just like, dude, this is my baby. I care about it. You do anything for it. And that resonates all the way through every single product. And I think that's why there's so many legends out there now. It's just, you resonate with someone who truly gives a shit about.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
About this.
That means a lot. I think, like I said, we're not slowing down. If anything, we want to figure out the right way to continue growing this thing and telling that part of the story, while also, scaling and to people who are never going to know that story. But knowing the real ones who are like at the core, like that's really special to us. So when the deal got announced last year, then I talked to the company. I told them, I said, guys, like there's been a little bit of a spotlight shine on me and Ryan as being the founders of this whole thing. But the reality is all of you guys are founders. Because, when Ghost continues to grow and is now part of an organization of thousands of people and all of that, you guys are all going to be looked at. You are looked at as the day ones. So this isn't about me and Ryan. This is about all of you guys, and we are all founders. So
at 100
to the next 91 years.
Yeah, at 100 years, those people that came in at 91, I mean,
yeah,
these people are going to be the founders for sure. I understand. That's amazing. One of the things that you've always said, and I know we're winding down here, but one of the things that I love is just for the love of the game. You're just a student of the game. Like, you genuinely love sports nutrition. And I know a lot of sports nutrition brands that are just marketing teams, and maybe not even very good ones, but it's not a personal love for them. And they might be passionate about making the best formula or whatever, but you guys, like, it's always very clear that you're willing to like fail and learn. Like you guys are very open and relatable when we talk about it. I mean, some of my favorite experiences with you and Ryan are like not very like prim and proper moments. Like all of 2020, we were just playing video games together.
Yeah.
Like live on Twitch, dying in front of 1,000 people on Twitch.
When we made the Ghost football. Oh no, that was CGV3. Anyways, I mean, like, look,
I still got one of those.
those are the moments, man.
Yeah.
Look, your job as a founder, I think your job is running a business. Like, even the bumps in the road, even the bad days, is your job, I think, is to be able to look at that in the rear view and like kind of smile. Maybe say, oh shit, but also like smile that like we overcame that, or we learned from it. We can kind of laugh about it now, I mean, but that's kind of, I think, your job is to, responsibly keep you and your business and your team on the tracks and not do anything, crazy or irresponsible. But I also think it's to make sure that you're learning and make sure that you're kind of having fun along the way and being able to look back and be like, oh, well, that wasn't one of the highlights. It might be on the blooper reel on the 10-year video, but it's important. And as I said before, it's why I wouldn't change anything, because it's all cumulative to getting us where we are today.
You guys have had a couple bumps, and people forget about them because you've, like, I guess, summited so much.
And you own them.
Yeah.
You don't run from them. Own them. It's okay.
I remember, and this isn't a bump at all, but like Gamer, your V1, I remember I said something like, hey, I would have liked better quality B vitamins.
Next run.
And I never thought anything of it. I just said it and it just moved on. I was like, I love New Level. I love all this other stuff. And it wasn't like a V2, but next run, you're like, hey, we took that advice and we did that. I think you guys should do blueberry cream.
There's a lot of people there. Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, I think we have to close this out, but thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. It's good to be back to the next 91 years.